Ladies and gentlemen, listen!
The Out of Bounds Show is presented by Ace Bolt and Screw, powered by DeWalt Tools.
Steve Robertson on the Parish Ghost in the Machine guest line. That's a fantastic beer, by the way, out of Louisiana. We're going to get to a kid in Louisiana here in just a second, but we welcome in Steve Robertson, Hail State Insider, 247 Sports, genespage.com to talk Hail State recruiting. Steve, what is the latest on MJ Daniels, defensive back out of George County?
Well, I think it depends on who you talk to. You know, it's been that kind of morning. You know, it's like you go to bed last night with a little bit of confidence and wake up with a little bit of anxiety, and then there's some Steve Wiltfong from the network crystal balls the kid to Ole Miss, and then we get on the phone and begin to ask some people some questions, and I'm told that he's not going to make a decision until 10 a.m. And I understand that Ole Miss tried to push him to go ahead and sign, and that he hadn't done that, and that he's got some people in his family that are wanting him to go to Ole Miss and some that want him to go to Mississippi State, and he's kind of tucked in the middle of a tug of war. And to be honest with you, I think we all find out together here in about an hour. You know, at about 10 a.m. he's going to announce his final decision. But, it looked pretty bleak this morning, to be quite honest with you, if you're on the Mississippi State side. And I understand that he's still in contact with the Mississippi State staff. And that's one of those things you look at, too, is if he's going to pull the whole Flipmas thing, then, why would he continue to engage? But, you can talk yourself into anything if you think about it long enough. But, I think at this point it's too close to call, and we all find out at 10.
All right, so MJ Daniels will rock the state of Mississippi one way or another in the 10 o'clock hour, a DB out of George County. Steve Robertson on the Out of Bounds show. What is the latest on Neighbors, the wide receiver out of Louisiana, LSU or MSU?
Yeah, we're feeling really good about Mississippi State there, and been in contact with my OSU guys a lot here the last couple of weeks, and as late as 1 a.m. this morning. The deal with him is they've been trying to flip him for 2 months. I mean, it's not as simple as, okay, well, we're just going to slow play this kid and get him on signing day. They've been trying to flip him and have been unable to do so. And then as a result, they had to kind of line up some other players and say, hey, well, listen, if he's not coming, we got to get somebody else. It appears now they have gotten one of those guys who's expected to be that replacement. And Sonny Shipp and Shay Dixon, longtime friends of mine that run our Go247 site, are both now projecting that Malik Neighbors will stick with Mississippi State.
Okay. That would be when do you expect him to announce or send his LOI in? How about that?
I'm told they're supposed to have a ceremony around 10 o'clock today. And
okay.
So you'll have – that's probably the two guys, and I wrote this yesterday, probably the two guys that Mississippi State fans should be sweating out the most were MJ Daniels and Malik Neighbors. It appears both of them will announce their final decisions and signing day destinations at 10 a.m. So a lot of that anxiety could go. I mean, if both of those guys ended up sticking with State, I think a lot of Mississippi State fans take a huge sigh of relief and feel like the signing day is going to be a good day for them.
McCollin Pounders was committed to MSU, decommitted, committed to Ole Miss. Looks like Ole Miss dropped him. I have listeners asking, would Mississippi State take Pounders now, Steve?
No, and I think there's no room in the end. I mean, it's one of those situations where, when he elected to back out of the class, then Mississippi State went and got Cannon Boone, and he's already signed with Mississippi State. State was only projected to take 5 offensive linemen in this class. And, waiting on, Carson Williams and Nick Jones. But, the other guys are in and ready to go. And so the numbers are just so tight. There's just no room for McCollin Pounders. And I don't think there's going to be room for a 6th OL. There was some discussion yesterday with some ebb and flow in the class. You may end up taking another offensive best available, and that could be an offensive lineman. At this point, that does not appear ready to happen. But there is no room for McCollin Pounders. I was informed last night that he is expected to sign with Memphis today.
Okay, so Pounders from Byhalia to Memphis. Antonio Harmon from Kosciuszko, wide receiver, maybe flex tight end, has committed to Mississippi State. Is that right?
That's correct. He announced at 9 a.m., and no real surprise there, but still a good get for State. And people ask me, who's the comparison? How will State use them? I think he's probably a little bit better of a pass catcher, but with kind of the same build as Jaquarius Spivey. I think that he is a guy that'll slide inside and kind of play that inside receiver position with Dave Nickel, sort of like Brad Cumbus and Jaquarius Spivey. And I actually like him a little bit better than both of those guys. Incredible catch radius. Not the most fleet of foot, but, he's probably, 4.7 type guy. And listen, you get him in a college weight room, maybe you speed him up a little bit, but with all the zone defense the State's going to see, you need some big body guys who can go out there and post up and find holes in the defense, secure a catch, and then absorb the blow without dropping the football. And that's what Antonio Harmon can do. In this scheme, he's not going to be running a lot of vertical routes anyway. Mike Leach will know how to use him. I think this is a really good get for Mississippi State.
Okay, he's a top 10 prospect in the state of Mississippi on 247. Steve Robertson, Hail State Insider, 247 Sports, genespage.com. on the Out of Bounds show. What else are they battling? Who else are they battling for, Steve?
Yeah, and they're waiting on Simeon Price is the guy. Matter of fact, we've already got the story written. We're just waiting on him to make his declaration public and wait for the university to do it. Simeon Price, former South Carolina commitment, that reopened his recruitment once Muschamp was fired and Steve Spurrier and Eric Mealy kind of pounced. He is a slot wide receiver with a running back build, and so he is the guy that is kind of this new generation of Mississippi State recruited running back. I mean, you're not going to go get that one-cut runner, 25-carry a guy game anymore. You're going to go get these guys that can be more multiple. He is a guy in high school that played the Wildcat quarterback. He was a guy that lined up in a slot receiver spot and in the backfield. They gave it to him on an inside handoff. They used him in space. He also did some kick returns. He is an explosive guy that's got about 30 offers and several Power Fives. Great addition, and I think this is the kind of running back that you're going to look for kind of going forward. You're going to look for these guys that are a lot more versatile, that can catch the ball out in space, because you see how State's using Marks and Dylan Johnson a lot, kind of checking the ball down and swinging it out to them. I think Simeon Price is really kind of in that same vein, but might be even a little more versatile than those guys. I don't know that he is the between the tackles runner that perhaps some people are used to, but I like his skill set, and I like the versatility he brings to the offense.
Oh, man, all is fair in love and war. College football recruiting, especially SEC and the Sun Belt. What about this guy named Boone, offensive lineman who was committed to Virginia Tech?
Yeah, Cannon Boone was identified pretty early on as one of the top offensive line prospects for Mississippi State. There was some thought back in the spring that State actually led for him. He had a list of favorites, but he was very, very bullish on the Bulldogs. And then he likes to kind of go around and take some campus visits with his dad. His dad's a high school coach, and so they got out and went to Virginia Tech. There was a family connection there. One of the guys that's kind of a player personnel guy there at Virginia Tech was an assistant coach with his dad. And so he elected to kind of jump on board with the Hokies. Well, now there's all this uncertainty about Fuente, and I understand they're going to bring him back for a year. But let's be honest, the chances of that guy hanging around until Cannon Boone graduates are pretty slim and none. And so once that uncertainty kind of began to arise, Boone reaches back out to Mississippi State and says, hey, do I still have a spot? And that's around the same time that McCallum Pounders and Ole Miss were kind of working together. And then next thing you know, State makes a move and you get them in. And that's what happens when you do this stuff late. Pardon me. It's one thing to do the whole, the hat flip and all that stuff during the summer. I know you don't get the same juice for it. But the bottom line is, if you do it late, there's a good chance somebody of comparable ability or better ability is going to take your spot. And so there's no guarantee you get to come back. So it's kind of a cautionary tale when I think we'll be telling the tale of McCallum Pounders for years to come.
Fascinating. All right, so according to Steve Robertson and David Johnson, both with 247 Sports, you should know something in the next 45 minutes to hour plus on MJ Daniels out of George County. Steve, I know it's been a busy day. Thanks for your time.
Always.
Steve Robertson, genespage.com. I can't believe we got both of them today. I mean, those guys are, blowing and going. Thanks to David Johnson, Rebels 247, and thanks to Steve Robertson with genespage.com. By the way, the Y'all Lifestyle Shop has Steve Robertson's new book, Alpha Dogs. Steve Robertson's new book, Alpha Dogs. Signed copies at the Y'all Lifestyle Shop in the Township by Nukes, along with super cool gear and all kinds of barware and so on. All right, that's it. I mean, there's some more in play, but it's the MJ Daniels show here over the next 45 minutes to an hour. and we'll see what direction he decides to go. Live in the Bank Plus studio. SEC Insider hit next.